Hello there, and welcome to a quick video on basic color theory. So we have Fey and Blackthorn leaves up to this point now, and we've got shading and highlighting and the leaves to go. So I'm going to use a little bit of color theory to inform me what colors I'm going to use both for shading the skin and for the leaves. It might seem a bit weird to use like similar colors for that kind of thing, but hopefully it'll all tie in together if we get it right. So I'll just pop her over there. Right, we have this lovely piece here called a color wheel. Please ignore the logo in the middle. I'm not like paid by them or anything like that. They just send these things out when you order stuff from them. So one of the basic tenets of color theory is something called complementary color, where you take something down one side and you place it next to something the opposite side, and it'll make both colors appear quite vibrant. It's a bit subjective and it depends on how you pull it off, but like some good examples are like red and green for Christmas, or like orange and blue for basically any movie poster or DVD color or something like that. I tend to slip onto orange and blue as well, as that's my favorite complementary thing. And there are also other, like you can form triangles which are very naturally very pleasing to the eye, or you could do squares or just stick to similar pieces as well. One of the previous armies I did kind of stuck around the purple to orange range and didn't use any of these ones down here, and it looked quite interesting and striking as well. So looking at the pieces we've done so far, we've got like quite a browny muddy color for the hair and quite a strong orange peachy color for the skin. And looking at our color wheel, we're just occupying this area of the color wheel at the moment, and using complementaries, if we draw directly opposite, we come across turquoise and blue, which is any use of those would make these colors strike out and vice versa. You can make these really prominent and these kind of muted, and it would bring out the oranges quite nicely again. As we're mostly this color, as it's mostly skin, I'm going to be drawing down here and going for turquoise and green, and we'll have a little rummage around for a good turquoise, and I'll start layering it down and we can see that in practice. So one moment. It just so happens that I have this lovely shade by Chimera Colors, where are we? Cobalt Blue Green, which is a lovely turquoise, a bit on the green side, which fits our needs. So we'll add a blob of that to the palette. And I'll just pop a bit onto the thorns and we'll see how it works with the rest of the colours. Got a little bit thinner. So as with layering, I've thinned it down a touch, and I'm just poking my brush in and drawing it towards my hand. That way it feels the most controlled for me, especially when I'm working on tricky bits and it's quite a tall model, so it could bounce around a touch. Okay, so I've got to the stage where I've done a single layer of turquoise all over the prickly leaves thing. It's still a little bit dark as it's over the undercoat that I did earlier, but you can use you can either mix your own turquoise up from blue and green, that's basically turquoise, or use a pre-made one. There's a what is it? Temple Guard Green by Games Workshop is a lovely one, and I'm addicted to that color as well. But I hope that kind of showcases how it kind of complements the rest of the thing, the rest of the miniature. Once it's been worked on a little bit more, then hopefully the choices will become a touch more apparent and stuff. But at the moment, we're still just in the planning stage of this thing. So while we're on color selection in theory, there is also another thing which I'd quickly like to talk about, which is saturation and desaturation. So if something is very saturated, that means the color is very blatant. Like I've done, the skin is very, very blatant. Whereas at the moment, the turquoise on the leaves is quite desaturated. It's not crazy intense. And you can control this and use it to your advantage if you want to. If you want to make certain things pop out, like I want the skin to pop out here and the leaves to sort of remain fairly muted, then I'm painting over a grey undercoat. But you could just down here get a teeny bit of black and white or your favorite grey and mix that in with the color which you're dealing with, and it will bring out a very nice muted grayish green color. Let's see if we can paint on a good example of that. Would be a good place to do it. Let's try that. So that's a desaturated turquoise in comparison to a very saturated turquoise, which is just neat turquoise here, which I'll pop a little bit on there. You can see the difference, and both of them would be very interesting to work with. I'm probably going to be desaturating for all the leaves and potentially in the shading with the skin here. I'm planning on shading the skin with turquoise and white and black, but we'll reach that on another video. So I hope that's useful. All the colours are now roughly planned out on this miniature, and I hope I haven't rambled too much. And there we go. I'll see you next video. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers.